Hey guys, it's Alex here, the technical director of the local lowdown. Before this episode starts, we'd like to share that we had a few technical difficulties during this episode, so there may be a few inconsistencies from here to there. Myself and the local lowdown team would like to apologize for this. Regardless, we hope you enjoy the show and check out this week's artist, Violent Graffiti.
Good evening, Fredonia. You're listening to the local lowdown on WCVF 88.9, The Voice, and WDVL 89.5, The Inferno. I'm your co-host, Mel, executive producer and promotions lead.
Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm the A&R lead here at the local lowdown.
And I am Alex Irwin, the man in the booth, making sure the audio levels are okay.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems in a group effort to promote and showcase the local music scene here at Fredonia and also Western New York at large. Welcome to the local lowdown.
I didn't even introduce our artist yet.
This is episode number 3, and we don't know how to clap yet.
I thought we were clapping after we introduced our artists.
We usually do after the artists. But
You left some space in there, so I was like,
I know.
okay.
Well, you've probably already seen them on the camera already, maybe. On our third episode back, we have Violent Graffiti.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks
Thank you
for
for
having
having
us.
us. I forgot we're being filmed.
There's cameras everywhere.
Yeah,
No
now I have to be
pressure.
self-conscious about where I'm looking.
We're all
Totally
good.
fine, man. On the first
Alrighty.
episode, we were like, we are nervous at the
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Honestly, for the first episode, you just have to look at the end credits, and it pretty much just kind of describes how the whole thing went.
Do you have a blooper reel?
At
Or-
the end, it was just credits like rolling and me just like sinking into the end of my seat. Just tired, but
I'm just like folding my paper. Like,
Is it over yet?
important, like,
alrighty. Y'all, how's it going? So let's go around the room, introduce ourselves, and what role you play in the band.
Hi, I'm Ryan Terry. I am I guess we don't really have roles specifically. I fill out more of the sort of lyrical side of things, and we both play every instrument on the record.
Yeah. My name is Evan Donnelly. I produced and mixed the our album. These are truly our last days. I played some of the instruments, and we both performed some vocals. It kind of just we pass off the baton whenever we feel like it, whoever's feeling it. So, yeah, that's how it was.
Yeah,
when
we were
started.
living together too, so it was whatever. It was just plug in and go.
Gotcha. Alrighty, so let's talk about your beginnings. What started the band Violent Graffiti? And obviously, let's address the elephant in the room. You guys are also part of another band. So kind of explain, I guess you could say what came first or what inspired the inspiration to either differ from your music from them. Kind of explain that backstory.
Yeah, so we've told this story a couple times in Beach Tower stuff, but we met at the Jumpstart Day, the first day we were ever in Fredonia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Us two, and then our singer Kaz in Beach Tower. And we started Beach Tower for Battle of the New Bands. And then as we got the ball rolling and as we were getting the EP released and started recording the Beach Tower album, we ended up moving into the same dorm as each other. And it became, the Beach Tower album was a very stressful time for, I think, everyone in the world. Because that was
the album or the EP?
the album.
Gotcha.
EP too, but a different kind of stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, making the album was a very stressful experience. So we would come home after classes, or sometimes in the middle of classes,
Oops.
or after Beach Tower rehearsals, we'd come home and we'd have all this creative energy, and we couldn't play live, and we couldn't do much like that. So we decided to funnel it into our recording project that we didn't have a name for, we didn't have a concept for, we just went.
Yeah, I know one of the first things that we worked on, it's on the album, it's named Cascades. It was part of Ryan's composition project, and he had the sheet music, and I heard it, and I was like, I love this. Can I get the MIDI for it? And then I put it into Ableton, and then that was like a really good like framework to like creatively express each other's ideas.
Yeah.
Like while like it's just they're both just very unique ways of approaching it. So
It feels like Beach Tower is very much like we're going to sit down and write a song, whereas Violent Graffiti is like, I've got a riff, let's build on it. I've got an idea. Like that was my original version was about 3 minutes, and then he like just started expanding it and pulling chunks out and really like, and then it became this like 10-minute ambient piece, and it was just, see what happens. No constraints.
Right.
So you guys started at the end of the album.
Yeah, it was like the second or third track we'd started working on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. So I just kind of want to go in a little bit about the name, which I think is very good.
Thank you.
Like, I feel like the violent part is like the experimental part, and the graffiti part could kind of be like the electronic or maybe even trip hop, hip hop influence part. Yeah. So where'd this little thing come from?
I read an article during the BLM protests where the attorney general called. They said that they were arresting people for violent graffiti, and I thought that was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. And it was just like, it was a funny thing to me, the idea that, graffiti being violence, like radical messages innocuously in the streets. I just stuck with me. And then like when we started working on stuff, I was like, what do you think of that as a band name?
and I was like, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that was about it. I think it did end up I think the music sounds like the band name, which
It
is,
does.
yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like you use graffiti in your imagery and stuff? I feel like I've seen it a little bit, but is that something you guys would do more in the future, or?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a really good name. And like, I think a name like that leaves a lot of room for how you want to like express it. So like, I don't know. I think it's I don't know.
I think we made an
It's just a band name.
attempt. I think we made an attempt for our marketing and like everything around the album to be rather cryptic
Right.
and mysterious. And so like I would love to, if we have the means, I would love to get graffiti somewhere as some guerrilla marketing tactic. But it was very much like the way that we wanted to promote the album had to be in the spirit of the album. It couldn't just be like us being like, here's some photos, here's a live video, album's out. It needed to be a little bit more. Yeah, I wanted it to be a little bigger than that. And frankly, I had nothing better to do.
Gotcha. Yeah. Is this kind of like a child of the pandemic a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
I did want to ask. I love the logo. I know there's like a bit of a touch of pink in there. There's a bit of gray. Is there like, did you guys choose a color specifically? Is there like a story behind there? Or is it kind of just?
So I think for that logo, we were in the middle of making we on SoundCloud we have broadcasts. We have 5 parts and they're like 20 minutes each.
Yeah, 20, 30-minute ambient pieces where I was pulling like public radio broadcasts and free sound sources and our own original material and
and just
stringing
like
them
chopping
together.
it up.
Yeah, and it was framed as a radio broadcast in the fictional world
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
album.
like an apocalyptic radio station.
Yeah,
type
and
thing.
it was called VGTV.
It was 88.9.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention that later in the show. I
It
came
made me
across
laugh.
that, and I was like,
Well, I was going to ask whoever it was Matt Gillespie. I was going to ask him if we could throw it on CVF. And then at some point I was like, that's just too much work and they're too weird and it's not not worth it.
But for the logo, we used a lot of static. I made it, but like I wanted to use a lot of like noise and grain on the logo design because I thought it would just fit those broadcasts well because everything just sounds crunchy. I want everything to like look like grimy and just like gross.
Yeah, I think that comes through in like the way you guys market yourselves with
Yeah.
the logo. Then like you have this whole other thing going on SoundCloud, which I was going to ask about, but you guys. Yeah. So let's talk about the cover art a little bit for These Are Truly Our Last Days. Yes, I got that right. Make sure. Okay. I'm going to be honest about this. When I first saw it, I was like, this reminds me of, what's the name of it? It's a My Bloody Valentine EP. It's,
I think I know the one you're
I think
talking
it's
about.
called Glider.
Yeah.
Yes, it reminded me of that and also like an MCR album.
Wow. Three cheers for Sweet Revenge.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah.
See it? Yes.
Love it,
exactly.
yeah.
I do see that.
Yeah. But now I feel like the more I've gotten to know the album and stuff, it definitely plays into what it sounds like. And I'm curious, like, what are these two lovers? Are they people that you guys know, or are they characters in the universe? What's up?
They are Jim Gordon from Batman and his wife. There's this gorgeous panel. We were really into Batman, the Batman comics at the
I
time.
thought you were kidding.
No, I was getting him to read Batman Year One by Frank Miller. There's this gorgeous panel in it of Commissioner Gordon embracing his wife. And I kind of just wanted to use that, but like, God knows that would have been a terrible idea. So we made a mock-up of that image and changed it enough and then sent it to my friend from home, Gage, who did this incredible analog image of it. He has it in his
somewhere.
apartment. Yeah, he wants to give it to us, but I've not seen it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where it came from. I love that album cover. Like I really don't think we could have picked something better. The red border, the fact that her nails red, it just felt. It does sound like the album, or it does look like how the album sounds to me. And I think I like the idea of like this couple embracing and what is presumably their final moments.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think that's kind of like the vibe I got from it when I was looking at it, you know. I mean, I'm a fan of art myself, so I kind of like put the symbolism together. I was like the red and the black. And I mean, that could be said for like a lot of albums in general when they're made. It's like, how do we want to represent all our songs in one look?
Yeah, it's super important.
Exactly. And so when it comes down to like picking either colors or a photo, sometimes people like go over the top and like, you know, they want to use like photos or maybe even graphics. But I think like this one specifically kind of summed up a lot of the songs in it. It was really pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very proud of it. And huge shout out to, his name's Gage Punterero, fantastic artist.
Yes.
Couldn't have been happier with it.
Yeah. Do they have an Instagram you could shout out?
They do not. They're vehemently against Instagram.
Okay.
But-
All right. That's okay. Yeah, with like the red border you were talking about on the outside, for the longest time I thought like they were bloody. And then today when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, it's just a red border. I've just been making that way. And that's kind of why I was getting that MCR vibe. Like my brain was just like doing it somehow. But it's completely unique on its own. And
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
really enjoy it.
So with These Are Truly Our Last Days, the title itself, I mean, we just talked about the cover art, kind of how like that goes along with the rest of the songs on the album. Do you want to kind of explain where the name came from, what the mood was when picking out like this album title?
Yeah, so there's this experimental rock band called Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Okay.
And they have a song called the Dead Flag Blues. And there's a line in that song, it's just a spoken word intro, and the line is, "Kiss me, you're beautiful, these are truly your final days," or last days, something like that. And we were in the middle of COVID, and I think the election cycle was happening at the time too, and it just felt grim. Like everything about what was happening, the water, there was no clean water.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah,
It was awful.
Yeah.
So we just
Remind me.
that line just stuck in our heads, I think. Like, these are truly our last days. What a prophetic line.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to say that we were pulling from so many different influences and places, like
yeah, of
almost
course.
overtly, like, but that happens.
I think it's a great way of like showing what you're doing and what you're getting your influences from, because like
Yeah.
you're stuck in this dorm room with your friend for a very long time, and it's like, what else
You're
what
not
else are you
leaving.
gonna take from, you know what I mean? Or not even take, but just like, I don't think there's anything wrong with like showing that you have a lot of appreciation for something and then putting that into your work.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say for me, I think the more overt, the better. If we don't try and hide it, then
Yeah, of course.
it's an homage and not a steal.
And I think that's kind of like how the song or like the album itself it's something so powerful, because when you think about it, like when maybe you're listening to a song like 5 years from now, right? It maybe you're choosing it for a specific reason, but like because you're explaining to us where the background falls, when it did take place, when you guys made the song, you kind of are able to like step in the shoes and be like, this makes so much sense, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of where everything kind of ties back together. It makes like full circle.
Yeah, I definitely like feel like your work makes sense when I imagine you guys just doing it in your dorm. As like these guys are really just stuck inside and they made like a whole world, it feels like.
That's
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, honestly, I never thought about it like that, but
Yeah.
very much so. Just like Batman, Counter-Strike,
Yeah. Godspeed you.
fast food.
Cuphead. That's where the Good Day for a Swell Battle, that title, is a Cuphead announcer
okay.
like thing after you or right as you start a boss fight.
Oh.
Yeah, we wanted to
Yeah.
use that sample, but again, same reason we couldn't use the album cover.
Yeah.
There you go.
Again, no.
Yeah.
I feel like the guitar line for that one is just always playing in my head. Because I feel like there's so many times where I've like tried to start that song and then not had enough time to like let it build up and listen to the whole thing. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
like going someplace and I'm like, then I just started again another time. I'm like, oh, I gotta wait for it. Because like I feel like your whole album is just like, it's very much a body of work, and I like to sit down, listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh, that's
even more
awesome.
so
Oh,
than
thank
the
you.
Beach Tower stuff.
That's so nice
Yeah.
to hear.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because I think we definitely conceived this album as an album and not 8 disparate songs that could be played separate from one another. I mean, I like to think that, especially the ones with more defined pop structures,
Yeah.
those can be played separate from the album, but I think being surrounded by other songs adds to it, was our intention.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk about like, well, now I'm at the point where I don't know if, like how much of the world is in my head or if it's like actually stuff that you guys came up with. I mentioned like the apocalypse type thing. Am I right about that?
Oh yeah, that's in it. I think that was something
Yeah.
we were aiming
Honestly,
for.
like as connected as we were with that album, like I love every interpretation of it, and like I'm sure that Ryan and I probably like at some points with it like interpret it in different ways. So like feel free to like shoot anything.
Yeah, because
Any ideas or thoughts, like I love it all.
the lyrics are pretty they're in some ways vivid, but they're often like devoid of context. And so I like the idea of the music filling in the context, and that can mean whatever to whoever listener. My idea of the album is I like to see it as vignettes of the end of the world. So like the first character is some Wall Street yuppie. Almost every song is a character piece. Like
Wow.
none of the. I think
Wow.
Sleep is the only song that I would say I see myself in.
Okay.
But like Good Day for a Swell Battle is some yuppie businessman. Kiss Me You're Beautiful is some obsessive like what's a nicer word than freak?
Honestly, that sounds like the right word to make. Like,
Yeah.
When you're hitting like the snarl on that, it stands out, man.
Yeah, thank you. And then it all culminates to Cascades, which I see as like the moment, the end. And then it has the really nice major section, which gives me hope. Like it's such a dour album, and that last 2 minutes I find very hopeful.
Honestly, that's kind of how I viewed it. It's almost like a storyline, and which is why we wanted to ask, how is it that this album is differentiated between songs? Because like, I kind of viewed it, and I'm sure we had like different views because you said apocalypse. I was like, I more so thought of that way, but I kind of viewed it as like a tragic love story, kind of just flowing through. And then obviously when you get to like that middle song, it's not like I view the songs too separately. I think when I did sit down to listen to it, it was a lot of one after another. And then everything kind of just tied together with like the cover art, and I was like, this makes sense. This makes sense, which is why we wanted to ask you, like, what was the intention behind it? What was the thought process? And there you go. And I think it's because the same thing we talked about with like Twimso, with like their their song Krabby Crab because we're like, it's Krabby Crab. What does that mean? And someone correct me because I feel like it's a very...
You got this one, Alex?
Alex, go for it.
Yes. Can't reuse a bullet, but you can reuse a brick.
That's what it
That's
means.
a great title.
Spells out Krabby Crab.
Oh, that's so good.
I
Makes
bel-
so much sense why they kept saying that during the Solstice Jam, the virtual one. If
Yes.
you watch that video, they're like, can't reuse a bullet, but you can reuse a
I'm
brick.
pretty sure I'm correct. The bullet and brick might be switched
No,
around,
I'm
but
pretty sure we're right. 'cause
okay.
I
On the record, that is the right story right now.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think we have an interpretation of like a certain song or album, but then like asking the artists themselves what was the meaning behind it kind of like throws you for a loop. And that's what happened last week. We were there for like a solid 2 minutes just being like, whoa, 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 whoa. And honestly, everything makes sense.
But I love hearing other people's interpretations because I firmly believe that once you release any art, that it's not the artist's anymore. It is whoever is listening to it, and therefore,
That's
like,
true, yeah.
I think the artist's voice is valuable, and I don't prescribe to the Bob Dylan school of like, oh, I don't know what it means. Yes, you do, Bob. But it is any interpretation is equally or more valid than my own because we've made the thing. Now let's get on with it. Now let's do something else.
Definitely. Yeah, it reminds me of the Childish Gambino, This Is America. Like, he wouldn't talk about it to people because he just wanted people to take it in whatever way they wanted.
Yeah.
I'm one of my favorite artists, so I don't know.
Yeah. And I don't want to be like, I have no desire to be vague about it. Like, we'll be honest about the interpretations if asked, but it's also like, it is not, our interpretations are not the final ones.
Yeah. I just want to ask about one song in particular, just to hear what you guys have to say about it, because whenever you get to the spoken word part on The Trains Are Coming, I'm like, what is going on? Like, I feel like it's a very important transitional moment in the album from my perspective, but I'm really curious to hear how that builds into the narrative and everything.
You want to start with how we constructed it?
So the first thing that we came up with was how do you say it? It's the bell chime.
Yeah, the Westminster chime.
I think
Westminster
so.
chime. Yeah.
Do 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 do.
Oh, okay.
Do. But like we
Yeah.
used that, and we like used a
Wow.
bunch of like distortion and stuff, and it sounds scary. Like it sounds like
Yeah.
pretty spooky.
Yeah, it becomes very ambient.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I used some analog synths and got like really like crunchy tone, and then Ryan came up with the really good spoken word piece of
Oh,
just
thank
like
you.
it sounds like a group of people like migrating like straight out of like Fallout or something, just like very post-apocalyptic, like this is not safe, we need water. And it
Yeah.
just sounds so good. And then at the end where it's just like the trains are coming and then it just wah 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 wah, just lots of sound. And the way I see that is just like, if in the way I see it as like an apocalyptic setting, because that's how I do like think of it, I feel like that's like the introduction to whatever like force is coming, whatever spooky thing is happening in that universe.
Is DEF CON that thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny. I think we had DEF CON beforehand, and then we had that instrumental scrap. I don't want to call it a scrap, but to us, it was like, this is like a demo right now. And we felt like we needed something to set up DEF CON. And I think back to it, because I'm very much a lyricist and not a poet. I don't think about when I think about writing lines, they have to be sung. So that was my first time sitting down where it's like, okay, not my first time, but my first time in a musical context where I'm like, okay, I'm going to write a poem, a spoken word thing. And it was multiple drafts, but it was, I felt so good at the end of it because I was able to play with prose and sort of tense in a way that I don't typically in lyrics. Like every line is past tense except for the trains are coming. So I like the idea of like the amount of turmoil and pain that these people have faced, and it's not even the end of it.
Yeah.
And it's meant to be this sort of ambient piece of people migrating north from whatever chaos the album implies to whoever is listening to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that is honestly quite an ending to our set list, which we're going to head on to. So, yeah, as I said, we're going to move to our live acoustic set. You guys are doing 3 originals and 2 covers. So feel free to stop in between the song, kind of explain if there's a story behind it. And, yeah, let's go.
All right.
All right.
All right, we're back in different clothes. This first one is called This Won't Work For Us. This won't work. This won't work for us. This won't work. This won't work for us. Cast along, siren song, lead me astray. Float away. This won't work. This won't work. This won't work for us. I won't let you take this away from me. I won't let you take this away from me. I won't let you take this away from me. You take this away from me. I won't let you take this away from me. You take this away from me. Oh, I won't let you take this away from me. You take this away from me. Fun little intro. Fun little jam.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
This next one is a Radiohead cover called No Surprises.
All right.
A heart that's filling like a landfill. A job that slowly kills you. Bruises that won't heal. You look so tired and happy, bring down the government. They don't no alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises, please. This is my final fit, my final bellyache with no alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises, please. And such a pretty house and such a pretty garden. No
Get
alarms
me
and no
out of
surprises. No
Get
alarms
me
and
out
no
of here.
surprises. No
Get
alarms
me
and
out
no
of here.
surprises, please.
Thank you. Played an F instead of a E minor or G minor at some point. Happens.
This next one is called Sleep.
Come here. We've been waiting for you. You've been trying to fall asleep. I think we found a place where you can go. This is the time. If you have something to say, then say it now. I won't cut you open. I won't let you down. Nights are playing stupid. The apartment's left so ruined. Hold my nose and drop me under. When I wake, I'll start over. I forgot everything. But when I wake, I'll start over. This is the time. If you have something to say, then say it now. I won't cut you open. I won't let you down. Nights are playing stupid. The apartment's left so ruined. Hold my nose and drop me under. When I wake, I'll start over. I forgot
everything. But when I wake, I'll start over, old enough to not quite see it, cool enough to not quite be it. I was told I'd always feel this. I was told I'd always feel this. No more promise, no more sorrow. No longer will I follow. Can anybody hear me? I just wanna be. 'Cause when I can, I will. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. This next one is a Nico cover called These Days.
After I press a few buttons.
After he presses a few buttons. I've been out walking. I don't do too much talking these days. These days I seem to think a lot about the things that I forgot to do. And I wonder if I'll get the chance to. I've stopped my rambling. I don't do too much gambling these days. These days I seem to think a lot about the changes that came about my way. And I wonder if I'll see another highway. I had a lover. I don't think I risk another these days. And if I seem to be afraid to live the life that I have made in song, it's just that I've been losing for so long. La da 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 da. I've stopped my dreaming. I don't do too much scheming these days. These days I sit in cornerstones and count the time in quarter tones till 10. Don't confront me with my failures. I had not forgotten them. All right, this is our last song. It is a new one called "I Won't Be Hard to Find." Stay in the back with my secrets. To you showing kindness is a weakness. I never knew I'd be cut open the less that I'd spoken. With God as my witness, I'll break it. These unspoken lies that I've taken. Your best suit awaits you in London, and I'll be here breaking my head. And the stage burned down, its pieces splayed on the ground. And I looked around, heard that awful sound, and suddenly I knew myself. You want me to do so much with my life I can't take anymore. You want me to do so much with my life I can't take it. Spend all your time in an airplane. You have your whole life in the champagne. I'll scour the mountains in your name, and I hope that you'll love me more. The constant barrages of heat waves, hiding from rainstorms and earthquakes, cover your eyes with a new face. You I will keep in my head. And the stage burned down, its pieces played on the ground. And I looked around, heard that awful sound, and suddenly I knew myself. You want me to do so much with my life I can't take anymore. You want me to do so much with my life I can't take it. I had a comfy bed and pretty lights and overheads that burned too bright. A spacious room and gorgeous sights and someone there to keep me up at night. Had a comfy bed and pretty lights and overheads that burned too bright. A spacious room and gorgeous sights and someone there to keep me up at night. All of these notes that they'll send, I'd rather die than disappoint you again.
All right, we're back after the music. Thank you guys so much for that. That sounded great. And
Thank you.
It's a little bit of a different setup, and there's a new guy here. The mixer man himself, Dylan Rohr,
Yeah.
also part of one of the performing members of Violent Graffiti. Yeah, so I'm just going to roll straight into a question about that. You guys performed at Flex Fest with Dylan and Jake King and, am I missing one?
Felix.
Yeah.
Felix, right. I'm sorry, Felix. I didn't
Felix
make it to
Kellogg.
Flex Fest, so I wish I did see you guys. But yeah, can you guys talk a little bit about what's like the creative balance between the performing members? How much did they contribute at all to the making of the album or anything like that?
So not with the album, because at that point it was just Ryan and I kind of because that was during COVID and there really wasn't much going on. That was more like, all right, let's make this in our dorm. But like once that got better, we decided that like we wanted to get a band and like also start adding like collaborative like members to it and stuff. At least like I would love that.
Yeah, I think that for us, we wanted to, when pushing the songs out live, we wanted to experiment with them. Like, they're already not, the songs are all just basically builds and then like a minute or 30-second like falling action. So it's like, there's a lot of room to jam. There's a lot of room to improvise. There is a lot of places we could take the songs we didn't originally. So when bringing the band in, I had made some sheet music and charts and beforehand to prepare, but we kind of just said, like, here are the chords, let's figure out. And some of the songs ended up being like 20 minutes when we first started jamming, and it was like, okay, we can't do that. So, but yeah, no, it was very collaborative once we started performing the songs.
Yeah, it was interesting for me because you had asked me to join the band over the past summer when they already wrote the album. So it was kind of interesting taking the process of this album, which to me, it didn't seem like it was necessarily built for a live experience, but then kind of converting that into kind of its own like junction of that, which, like Ryan said, kind of gets drawn out and explored a little bit from these set chord structures from the song. And as somebody from like a jam band background, like I'm a big fan of like the Grateful Dead and things like that, that really appealed to me.
We actually scout deadheads for the band.
We do, yeah. We pick them up.
Yeah, pick them off on the side of the road.
We've been talking about integrating them into the official lineup. And we also, I want to, in live performance, I want to be more theatrical. I feel like this is the project to do it with. I've been wanting to do costumes or masks or something since we started. Oh, yeah. But we'll see what happens with that, I suppose.
Yeah.
If we can.
Watch out, Daft Punk.
Yeah, I've been dying for my own stage persona now.
Yeah. We'll have the helmets, but with wigs.
Right.
Groucho glasses.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads into our last question. Thank you for the segue, Ryan. So what are you guys working on in terms of future projects? Are you guys going to release any music anytime soon? What's the plan on out from here?
We've got a collaboration that I don't know if we can talk about too much, but I'll just say that it's in the works. We have, and then it's weird because we've been jamming as the full 5-unit band, coming up with stuff. And then also we had a bunch of scraps while we were making These Are Truly Our Last Days that we want to turn into full songs. So we don't really know what's going to happen between those two batches.
Probably just lots of different kinds of music, which I'm excited for. Just like exploring different avenues very fast, hopefully, you know.
I can say the stuff we've been making on our own is very dance and house inspired. So
by any chance, have you been making, since I like to collect stuff, been making any merchandise perhaps? Any plans for that in the near future? Question mark?
Very badly want to. This is a pipe dream, but God, do I want to see the album as a vinyl. I would kill for that.
I feel like your album, at least that last one with the cover art, would be so nice.
I wanted to say that earlier in the show. Like, that would look excellent as like an album jacket. I would definitely be in line to purchase one of those.
Oh, thank God.
Absolutely.
You got one.
You have one customer waiting here in Prada.
2 customers.
Yeah, 2 customers.
Hey.
Duly noted, guys. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
please. If you guys need any merch ideas, know that we're all here to pitch some ideas as well.
Awesome. I think shirts and stickers is something we want to do, but we'll just have to figure out. We're getting a manager, so now we have to disentangle our social media accounts and email and make sure that they have enough control to do what they need to do.
Gotcha.
Right.
Nice. So lots of future plans.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Excited. Well, that concludes our second episode of The Local Lowdown. Thank you guys so much for coming on, and it was a pleasure having you guys on as our third artist for our third week. But again, thank you guys so much. We're super excited for what's next to come for you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you to Dylan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you,
Alex.
Mr. Mixer.
Honestly, Dylan, right-hand man, doing an excellent job.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
so
much.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to the Local Lowdown on 88.9 WCBF The Voice and 89.5 WDVL The Inferno. Make sure to join us next week for some more amazing local music. Same time,
same place. We'll get it wrong every time. Oh my gosh.
I was just laughing because I knew that we were going to try and say same time.
same place at the same time.
Well, it didn't work out, so see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.